guys, welcome back. So today we are going to be talking about books again, because that's my favorite thing. Today I have a video that I am super excited to do, because this is a topic I'm very excited to talk to you guys about because of reasons that you would know if you followed my Instagram. I am obsessed with fairy tales. My thesis novel that I'm writing for school is a Sleeping Beauty Rapunzel retelling in a romantasy kind of way. So that's super fun. And I wanted to do a video. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I wanted to do a video about books that are not expressly fairy tales, but they have very fairy tale vibes, and just something to read if you really like fairy tales like I do. I love fairy tales so stinking much. Can you tell I was a Disney kid? But anyway, these books, like I said, these books are not fairy tales in of themselves, but they're they've got fairy tale vibes. They've got if they are a retelling, they are so subtle that it doesn't come off like that. Yeah, so let's just hop into it. I am so excited. I love it so much. This is such a curated list that I made. I'm so proud. So the first book is one that you all know and most of you probably love, The Hobbit. And there's my little bookmark. The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. So The Hobbit follows Bilbo Baggins. You know, he just wants to be left alone. He just wants his little cozy vibes. He wants to relax, which, you know what? I feel you, my dude. Like, you know, everybody, it's just chill. You know, let's just be chill. And he wants to be chill, but Gandalf does not want him to be chill. He wants him to do the whole, like, dealing with the ring issue and saving the world. This is a standalone book. They made 3 movies out of this one book, but I only saw 2 of them, I think. But this is a single book in of itself, so a contained story, one and done. This one made the fairy tale list because it totally, like, it feels like you're sitting in a room with Tolkien and he's just telling you a story. You know, you're sitting by a fire, maybe also in a hobbit house, and he's just telling you this story while he's smoking a long pipe or, you know, serving you really warm comfort food. I love it. And I think you guys would too if you haven't read it already, because I'm probably the last person on the planet who has ever gotten into Lord of the Rings content for the first time ever. I don't know what my problem was, but yeah. So we've got that going on, which is cool. The second book is more contemporary, but still quite a few years old. It's The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. It follows Jude, who gets taken to the fairy world after her mother is killed, which is not a spoiler because it happens in the first, like, chapter, so, you know. And she ends up being bullied by everybody in the fairy world. She and her sister have to try to fit in, and they can't really because they are human. Like, they are 100% human. Their sister Vivi is half human, so, like, their mom was human, and her sister's father, her other sister's father, is a fairy, and he adopts them, and, you know, they have to live this very difficult life in fairyland. They actually just call it they live in fairy, I think, and they are especially bullied by Prince Cardon, and this is just very good. I'm trying to cut the line here on how much I say because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's very good. Jude learns to defend herself and to try to get some kind of, like, standing, you know, in this world. So yeah, she's really just trying to make it happen and trying to make her and her sister's life better, because, you know, they are really, really struggling, and it's great. I love the entire series. Cruel Prince, Wicked King, and Queen of Nothing. Love it. Love it. You can tell my copy is well loved because I just realized there is a little ouchie right here. I don't know what the hell happened up here. Like, when I found that out last year, that something had gotten on it, I don't even know what. It was on a bookshelf for a while. I don't know what happened here, but I was freaking out and like, is it gonna happen to my other books? But it didn't, so I don't know what that was. So, you know, guess we have to chalk it up to the universe thinking it's funny when it's not. Anyway, that aside, my next book is one that I will never shut up about, and it's always going to be my favorite book. Maybe more so than The Great Gatsby, which is my favorite book. But like, it's Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. And like, this book is so good. It is so good. I read it so many times. Like, this was my comfort book for a while. And again, you can tell it's well loved because of this. I don't know why all my well-loved books end up with ouchies like this. But, you know, I'm very careful, I promise. I promise. I'm very careful, but, you know, the universe likes to see me sad. So this book is about a girl named Chio, who she grows up in a poor fishing village, and like, her mother gets really sick, and she meets a man named Mr. Tanaka, who he runs the fishing company, I think, in her village. And he sees that she's like, her dad is like super old and her mom is dying, and so he convinces her dad to sell her into a geisha house, and her sister goes into a different kind of district. And so Chio basically is trying to find her sister. She's trying to reconnect so they can bail and go back home. But she ends up becoming a geisha. And it's the reason I love this book so much, and this will summarize everything for you. It is a Cinderella retelling, but it's super subtle. Like, it's a retelling that you'll notice now you'll know because I told you, but like, if you're familiar with the themes and the motifs and like all the shit that in Cinderella that makes it what it is, you'll find in Memoirs of a Geisha. Like, the evil stepmother is, they call her mother in the book. She runs the Okiya. And there's some characters that don't really fit, you know, like Auntie and the grandmother, they don't really fit, but the two stepsisters, Hatsumomo and Pumpkin, the prince is the chairman, you know, just stuff like that. And the fairy godmother is Mameha, and it fits so perfectly. And this is the kind of thing I want to be able to write, where it's a retelling of a fairy tale, but it's not super in your face about it. It's like, if you understand the pieces of the fairy tale, then you'll understand that it is a retelling, but it'll stand alone itself as its own thing, and that's what this book does. It stands alone as its own story, but if you look at it with a critical lens, you'll see that it is actually a Cinderella retelling, and it is the only Cinderella retelling that I enjoy. Everything else feels so just, you know, just bleh. This one though, 100% love this book. It is my favorite book of all time. I will have to be buried with this because I love it so stinking much. It is probably the best Cinderella retelling you will ever read, because it is the best one I personally have ever read, and I have read a lot of fairy tale retellings, and a lot of them are very in your face about it. A lot of them are very like, this is what it is, and it's super obvious. But that's not what I'm here for. I want to experience the retelling in a way where I don't know that's what it is until I do. And then it takes on this whole other level, you know? That made me very sleepy because that was a big old rant. Anyway, so the next book is, it is called Kamikaze Girls by Novala Takemoto. And I love this book. I saw the movie first when I was like 16, I think. I saw the movie first and I really loved it. And I love that movie. That was a good movie. And then when I saw that they had translated Kamikaze Girls novel a few years ago, I bought that shit. And last year, I thought I lost it. Like, I couldn't find it anywhere in the house, so I was freaking out and like losing my shit because I couldn't find it. And I was crying because I couldn't buy it again because it's out of print. And like, it's so good. And I was so upset. Then I found it in a purse because I had taken it with me somewhere and left it in a bag I don't normally use. But I found it. But anyway, the story follows a girl named Momoko who is obsessed with Lolita fashion and the brand Baby the Stars Shine Bright. She is self-centered. All she cares about is her vibe, and you know, can't fault a girl for her vibe, but maybe don't be super self-centered about it, and she really very is. So she's selling knockoff Versace because her dad made knockoff Versace and it got them in trouble, so she is now selling it on the down low. And she got contacted by someone she thought was a little kid wanting Versace because the handwriting was bad and it was like stained with juice and it was like terrible. So she's like, oh, it's just a little kid, whatever. Yeah, you know, come get it. I don't care. So the girl, Ichigo, came and got it, but she is a full-ass high school kid and she's a Yankee. I think that's right. You say it Yankee or Yankee? I think it's Yankee. I don't know. I'm ignorant, and please correct me for whichever one is correct because I want to say it right. I don't want to be stupid. But she is a Yankee who is, you know, she's kind of friendless and she got bullied a lot. And so she goes and she buys this Versace knockoff from Momoko for like super cheap because it's knockoff. And Momoko's like, it's not real. I'm not going to charge you real prices for something I know is fake. And she's like, holy shit, you know, this is still great. So they end up, Ichigo ends up trying to become Momoko's friend, and Momoko's like, I don't need friends, but you know, it's a fun story about female friendships, and it's quirky, and it's like, it's these two super weirdos that just like come together and be friends, and it's perfect, and I love it. Momoko's super resistant to the friendship, but Ichigo is like, whatever, come on. We'll be friends. We got this. Novala Takemoto was a huge icon in the Lolita movement back in like the early 2000s, I think. He's a Lolita essayist, or he used to be. I don't know if I doubt he still is. But yeah, so it's Kamikaze Girls by Novala Takemoto, and I love it to death. So if you can find a copy, I recommend you buy it. It's very fun, it's very sweet, you know, it's kind of my favorite story about just female friendships, you know, and it's like, you don't get a lot of them that I actually like, 'cause I think a lot of them are super boring. Yeah. So, we got that, and that's great. The next two are by the same author. I just now realized I literally didn't plan that. I just thought, ooh, this one, and then ooh, this one. I was like, oh wait, these are the same. I just saw this. The first one is personally my favorite thing to read during the winter because it's got mad like winter vibes. And that's The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I first discovered Erin Morgenstern when I read the next book in this thing. But The Starless Sea is her second novel, and I like it because it's got like, it feels like it's a fairy tale in of itself. And I think I watched a podcast, or not a podcast, you don't watch a podcast, well I guess you can, a YouTube video, I guess, a YouTube interview with her, where she talks about how her editor was like, maybe tone down the fairy tale vibes, and she's like, nah, more fairy tale vibes, which is the vibe. That is, you know, the aesthetic. We want more fairy tale vibes, because that's what we love here on this channel, is fairy tale vibes. And the Starless Sea has that. Far beneath the surface of the earth, upon shores of the Starless Sea, there is a labyrinthine collection of tunnels and rooms filled with stories. The entryways that lead to this sanctuary are often hidden, but those who seek will find. Their doors have been waiting for them. Zachary Ezra Rollins is searching for his door, though he does not know it. When he discovers a mysterious book in the stacks of his campus library, he begins to read and is entranced. Suddenly, a turn of the page brings Zachary to a story of his own childhood. A bee, a key, and a sword emblazoned on the book lead Zachary to two people who will change the course of his life. Mirabelle, a fierce pink-haired painter, and Dorian, a handsome barefoot man with shifting alliances. Amid twisting tunnels filled with books, gilded ballrooms, and wine-dark shores, Zachary falls into an intoxicating world soaked in romance and mystery. But a battle is raging over the fate of this place, though there are those who would willingly sacrifice anything to protect it. There are just as many intent on its destruction. And I read that really bad. As Zachary, Mirabelle, and Dorian venture deeper into the space and its histories and myths, searching for answers in one another, a timeless story unspools, casting a spell of pirates, painters, lovers, liars, and ships that will sail upon a starless sea. Love it! I'm here for it! Yeah! It has, like I said, it has winter vibes, and I'm gonna read this during the winter again, because I love it. Okay, and the last one on this list is also by Erin Morgenstern. And it was the first book I read from her. And I read this ad nauseum. It was a comfort book that I read for a very long time because it is so whimsical and so pretty. And like the vibes, man, the vibes. I just love it so stinking much. It is called The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which you guys you guys probably know it already because this book is like a bunch of years old, but it was Erin Morgenstern's first book. She wrote it for NaNoWriMo. It is basically it's a Romeo and Juliet story that is about these two magicians that they basically are like, okay, have you ever seen The Prestige? If you've seen The Prestige, it's kind of like that, but cuter and prettier. Yeah, it's basically, you get the idea like from watching The Prestige. You can kind of get the same vibe, but it's much prettier and Victorian, as you can tell from the front, and it's so good. I'm trying to figure out how to tell about it without spoiling it because it's so good. And basically, like, this little girl Celia, her dad is a magician, and he makes a deal with a colleague of his, a rival, who goes and adopts a kid, and they each raise their respective child and prepare them for the competition, you know, that they have to go through, which is basically adding to this circus, trying to make it bigger, better, you know, in their own ways. And, you know, it's great. And it flip-flops through parts of time, because then it's like this time period, and then it flips to the future, which is like Bailey, and then it flips to like the past again, but with a different perspective. It's wild, and I love it. This one, like how the Starless Sea I said had winter vibes, this one is hella autumn vibes, because like they talk about cider and like popcorn. It gives you all these like fun autumn vibes. And I think Morgenstern even herself talked about how this was her autumn book, and that this one was her winter book. And she was like, next time I need to do a spring and summer, you know. But we haven't gotten one. Not yet. Which is too bad, because if we ever did, I would buy the hell out of it, and I would read it, and I would, yeah. I love it because I love Erin Morgenstern. So those are my books that are very fairytale vibe oriented, and they're good reads for if you want if you like fairy tales, you know. Yeah, so I hope you guys like this one. My throat's dry. I need to go get a drink. I'm tired. I hope you guys like this one. It was super fun to do because, again, I love doing ones like this where we talk about books because I could talk about books literally all day. I'm such a bookworm. Like, it's no joke. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. And I hope you guys like it. I think you will because I like it. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. Let me know if you like these, these book talk videos, because we can do more. I will happily do more because I love talking about books, like literally more than anything. You get me started and I won't stop, as you can tell. But yeah, but for right now, I think we're gonna say goodbye, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!